First, let me thank Senator Baldwin for her comments. I agree with her statement, and I also am very proud of the senior senator from Maryland and the leadership that Senator Mikulski has shown on gender issues. This bill on paycheck fairness is just the most recent example of her extraordinary leadership throughout her career on gender equity issues. I particularly wanted to be here not to say how proud I am of Senator Mikulski, but also that the Paycheck Fairness Act is not about women. It's about families, and it's about our economy. It's about fairness, about American values. It affects everyone in our country. And we all should be personally engaged in making sure paycheck fairness becomes the law. To me, it's outrageous that a woman has to work 5 days, the same work that a man works 4 days with the same pay. That's inherently unfair and needs to be corrected. And the Paycheck Fairness Act would do that. I know that we are on Equal Pay Day, which basically reflects how long women have to work, basically without getting a paycheck, in order to get paid for the same amount of work that a man does at the same level. That's just not American. It's not fair. Mr. President, I have the privilege of being, as the chair knows, as a member of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, I'm the ranking Democrat on the Senate Foreign Relations Committee. And as the President knows, America, one of the things we look at is how well other countries deal with basic rights. And one of those rights is how they treat their women. And one of the barometers on determining how well a country does is how well do they treat women. If they treat women well, they generally are doing much better. The truth of the matter is that women, in many cases, do better investments than men. They invest in children, they invest in families, they invest in economic growth, whereas men are more likely to invest in war. And we see much more economic growth where women are treated fairly in other countries. So it's an important value for America, and we have promoted gender equity issues in our foreign policy, in our development assistance, in our diplomacy. But for us to be effective globally, we first need to take care of our issues at home. And the Paycheck Fairness would do exactly that. It would deal with the issue of fairness in the workplace in America. And we're not where we need to be. You know, everybody talks about the fact that women aren't paid as much, and that's true. But if you happen to be a minority, it's even worse. So we need to take care of this for the sake of the American economy, for our values, et cetera. Mr. President, I've introduced legislation that would allow us to pick up the ratification of the Equal Rights Amendment so that we could have in the Constitution of the United States the fairness for no gender discrimination. This would make it a lot easier. I only need 3 states in order to ratify to become part of our Constitution. The late Justice Scalia noted accurately that there's nothing in the Constitution that requires discrimination against women, but there's nothing in the Constitution that protects against discrimination based upon gender. So we can do a better job in fundamental changes. But what we can do in this Congress now is paycheck fairness. That can get done in this Congress and can be effective this year and can be the legacy of this Congress. I would urge my colleagues, let's do that. We all talk about gender equity issues. With the bill that's pending on paycheck fairness, we can act, and we can act now, and we can make a major change in American policy that will not only be fair to women, but be fair to all Americans and allow our economy to grow.